Hello everybody, it's me, Mr.Mazzinni, and we're once at it back at it again. Today I'm telling you another story. Today I'm going to tell you a story about the time we went fishing with a bunch of buddies and a bunch of family members. Now, the boating trip itself was pretty interesting. It was pretty fine, to say the least, pretty fun. You know, your typical fishing trip. We got a couple fish, But the interesting part was actually what happened after the fishing trip, because after the fishing trip, what happened was that all the women stayed behind and all the men that came along to the party went on the boat fishing, and we were all just drinking and having a fun time and driving the boat. Well, I was driving the boat. I was captain because I'm allergic to fish. Fun fact, guys. But everyone else that could touch the fish were over there very excited fishing around. But all the women that stayed behind, and they were at a little park and whatever, but outside it was truly hot because it's almost summer, in case you don't know. Here in Minnesota, the heat, that's something right there. But all the women stayed behind, and they stayed behind a shade because it's hot, so they went underneath the shade. And the thing is, they stand right next to this truck. Now, this truck is pretty important to this story because this truck belonged to a big fat fellow that started pushing all the women around, including my mother and my cousins and my aunts and everyone that was there. And they don't really know much English, so they didn't say much. And I'm assuming he kind of just thought they were alone so he could get away with it. And they were he was yapping about how his truck was really expensive and they didn't have to be leaning on it. The story is no one was leaning on his truck. They just wanted to be by the shade because it was hot outside. So my mother and all the other women start calling over all the men that are on the boat. So we had to rush over and get off this boat, and we had to argue with this man. And his wife was at the deck with his children, and, well, let's just say this man probably doesn't treat women that well and is probably a bit sexist and also probably racist, because his wife did not step in one bit, and we all start arguing with him, and he starts to realize that he's outnumbered, so the guy just starts looking around and tries to finding quite literally anyone that will help him out and defend him, and no one seems to be on his side, and after he seems to be outnumbered, and after we argue with the guy, he pulls out his phone and he proceeds to be like, oh, I'm going to call the cops, and just tries to be like, ooh, and then just starts ignoring us. And there was a couple fellows on a jet ski, and they were kind of confused, and they were just kind of, well, not really on his side. They were just confused and trying to be nice and whatever, and I don't really know what they felt, but they just came over and they were like, hey, we're not trying to be assholes, but could you possibly move the boat because we have the boat right in front of the deck, and they just kind of wanted to get their jet ski out. And we were like, okay, we're going to be out in a couple seconds, and we don't want to deal with the inconvenience. So after we told the guy to fuck off, and after he mumbled a bunch of shit at us because he didn't have the guts to actually insult us back because bro was terrified out of his mind, and if something did occur, he'd probably just call the cops on us. So we start going to a different lake that, if I'm correct, is called Fish Lake, and it's located in a small town, and that's when the next inconvenience happens. But before we show that, here's a couple videos of us actually on the boat.
You're driving my boat, man. Got a good feeling about this spot. By all means, let's try it out. The little shaded spot.
Now, right now here, we're going to draw my little brother, considering he was the one who caught the most fish, but what happened was we went to the next place, and there was a couple 13, I have to say the guy was around 13 years old, the girl was around 17 because she had a tattoo on her arm, and they had a dog, and they were over there, they were at the deck where you put the boat at, and they were like, we're trying to train our dog, blah, 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 and they're just being a bunch of nuisances while we were trying to put our boat, because the dock is for boat, and they were just like, oh, could you hurry up, because we're trying to train our dog and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, they were so annoying. Yeah, they were just being fucking idiots. They were like, could you hurry it up? And everyone, all the family and whatever was getting on because we went in separate cars, and they were just like, hurry up. And they eventually just left. And I cussed them out because the fuck, they started to insult my boat because this boat, you got to take a couple times to actually turn it on. You got to crank it a couple times because that's the consequences of getting a Facebook Marketplace boat. But I have no complaints for my boat. I love my boat. But yeah, that was the next inconvenience, and then we kind of just drove around, and that was it. Now, here we're done with the drawing of my little brother. Now, he's the one who caught the most fish. Imagine being a fish and being like, yo, I got caught by a goddamn 8-year-old child. Look at me. Look how goofy I look. I got caught by an 8-year-old child. SpongeBob ass storyline. Ah!
Hi guys, I'm Mazzinni, and today I'm sitting in silence, because that's what I just did. Starting now.